Hi everybody. So I wanted to take couple of minutes and I'm going to kind of go back to the beginning and just show you some basics. Some of this is already on my Facebook page, Creative Musings. However, for people who are just stumbling across this and aren't on my Facebook page, I just figured I would make a separate video for YouTube in case it helps a couple of people. So we're going to get started. I'm going to show you a couple things today. I'm going to show you how to do a slip knot, how to hold your yarn, and as well as doing a single crochet, double crochet, and treble crochet, which I'll show you how to do a slip stitch also. Those are what I like to call them the 4 foundation chains or stitches of crochet. So I'm using my orange yarn because I figure it's nice and bright, it's easier to see. So it's size 4. And then I'm also using a 5.5 millimeter hook. You will notice probably most of my videos I do work with this hook a lot. So just to let you know. So to get started, we're going to do a slip stitch. There's 2 different ways of doing it. Sometimes what I like to do is just I'll kind of cross the yarn like so, and then I'll lay it on the back of my finger, alright? So that way this middle loop belongs to this cut yarn, alright? Then I'm just going to take my pointer finger and my thumb, or your middle finger and thumb, and just grab that center piece and just kind of pull up. And that'll help you create a slip knot. And all you have to do if you want to loosen it, or if you want to tighten it, you're going to pull on the cut piece of yarn. Alright, and you don't want it super tight to where you can't move this. You want it to be able, I'd say probably that's good enough. I probably wouldn't, tie it anymore. If you want to loosen it, then you can always pull on the long side of the string and that will do it as well. Okay, so that's one way of doing a slip knot. The other way is you're going to take your 3 fingers and you're going to kind of hold your cut yarn piece, wrap it twice around your finger. Try to be loose about it. Sometimes I still do it a little bit too tight. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece that's on the left side and wrap it over like so. So it's kind of going to form an X. Then you're going to take this piece that you haven't touched yet and just pull it over your finger, okay? And raise your finger just a little bit. And insert your hook. I'm just going to loosen this just a little bit. Alright? And then again, you don't want, and when you're holding your hook, you want to have the hand that you're using to hold your hook, you want to actually have it on this flat middle section of you want to keep it on this flat middle section of your hook, and that's just going to help when you go to crochet. If you're crocheting that way, it's going to help you get the correct nice even stitches all along your project. There's 2 ways you can hold your hook. There's the pencil way, which I've never ever done before. I've never even learned how to crochet. So I don't know even how to go about doing that. But there's the second way is holding it like a butter knife. And that's honestly how I learned to crochet. That's the easiest way to crochet for me. So, all right, so that is a slip stitch. So we're going to create a slip stitch. So just again, stick the yarn in your 3 fingers, double wrap it, go over once, go over twice. There you go. All right. And then when you hold your yarn and you're ready to crochet, there's multiple different ways. So if I'm going to show you technically 3 ways how to hold your yarn. If they don't work, go to YouTube or search the web, whatever. There's multiple ways you can go about holding your yarn. It's really whatever works for you. It might seem foreign to you, so you might have to just kind of go with one that you feel most comfortable with and just keep using that technique until you get used to it. I was crocheting for about 2 years. I would take my 3 fingers, hold the yarn, and then actually my 2 fingers, I guess, is the best way to put it. Hold on 1 minute. Okay, so what I would do to get started is I would actually wrap, all right? But then once I was started, I would take these 3 fingers and hold the yarn, all right? And then I would just crochet like this. And this is honestly, now that I'm doing the other way, I'm more used to the other way, as you can tell, but this is just one way. Fun tidbit about me, I actually have cerebral palsy, so this might be like really unconventional for some people. It's just at the time, I tried other ways and my hands just were like, yep, nope, not happening. So basically that's one way you can go about holding your yarn, okay? And I always used to just wrap it like so and pull it through, okay? And I'd still use this pointer finger and the thumb to hold the work, which you can do, all right? The other way that I'm going to show you is, this is really just, the next 2 ways are really just one big way, but it just has a variation to it. So the new way that I've been holding my yarn, which I'm starting to get a little bit more used to, is I take my hand and I will put the string between my pinky, turn my hand over, take my pointer finger and my thumb, hold the work, and then start crocheting. When you crochet, you want to try to not move this hand if you don't have to. If you feel your tension getting too tight, you can curl this finger and it'll loosen up a little bit. But if you feel like this is too loose, you would just kind of point, and that should tighten up your and you can move up the chain with your pointer finger and your thumb as you need to. Another good way to on top of using your pointer finger to tighten and loosen your string is you can also tighten and loosen your pinky. So if you want your string tighter, tighten up your pinky so that string really can't get through much, okay? Obviously, you want it looser, loosen up your pinky a little bit. If you find those 2 are not working and you're not getting the desired length that you, or not the length, but the tension that you want, one way to go about fixing that is this nice big long string. Obviously, don't pull on the cut string because that's part of your chain, and if you pull on it, it's going to come undone or tighten and just be a mess. So you're always going to be working with this long piece of string. If you feel like this is just way too tight or way too loose, sorry, because this is about pretty good, I would say, for me personally. All you have to do is just pull on this to tighten it up just a little bit if need be, okay? So what I'm going to show you next, I'm going to do probably 3 rows of each stitch so that way you can just see the difference between them, and you don't have to keep this sample. You can to like refer back to it if you want, but I'm going to pause the video really quick because I just want to count my stitches, because when you're doing this, the loop that is on your hook is not going to count as a stitch, okay? It's never going to count as a stitch. This would be technically our first stitch, all right? And you always want to make sure that you have the same number of stitches in each row, unless obviously the pattern calls for differently, because that's going to help your work from it's going to keep your edges straight and instead of going off in a weird, odd angle. So I'm going to pause the video really quick so I can count this, and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back. So I have 25 chains on in my chain. So to do a single crochet, all you're going to do is, if you're starting out and you have just your chain, nothing else, you're not going to chain anything. You're going to go into the stitch close to your hook, okay? Which is going to be, it's not going to be the stitch that's on your hook, all right? And you're just going to insert your hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. That's a simple single crochet. Again, you're going to go into the next stitch, insert. Actually, I'm going to go into, you can, when you're doing this, feel free to use those top loops by all means. What I've started to do that I actually found out I prefer to do is I like to go into these back loops. And I'll just go into these back loops because I find it makes it a lot more, it's a lot more, I guess, cleaner is like a cleaner line. Hold on 1 minute, I just have to get my thing right through there. Okay. And you'll be able to tell if it's the back loop because you'll be able to notice your chain, the back of it is going to feel and look almost like a spine sticking out, okay? And if you turn it right on the side, you can see that, okay? So again, if you're doing that, you're just going to insert into that one stitch, yarn over, pull through, and pull through, all right? And when you're crocheting, a yarn over is referring to, you're going to basically, when you yarn over, you're going to kind of like almost push your yarn away from you, okay? That's basically what they're referring to by yarning over. When you're, if something says to yarn under, think of it almost like you're pushing the yarn to you, all right? So your yarn will be obviously underneath your hook. That is a yarn under. And I'm going to pause the video just so I can finish up these stitches, and I will meet you back and I'll show you what to do from there, okay? So again, insert your hook. I'll show you one more time. Insert your hook, pull through that loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, and yarn over and then pull through both loops, and that's a single crochet, all right? And again, however many chains you did should be should be how many you have for single crochets. So I will be right back. Okay, so this is what your chain is going to look like now. So to do a single crochet on top of a row, you're just going to chain 1, and then you're going to go into this stitch next to your hook and just do a simple single crochet. And I'm just going to pause the video because I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to do 2 more rows like this, and then I will show you guys how to do a double crochet. Alright, so I am back. So this is what the single crochet looks like, okay? We have 2 rows there. And if you're not sure which row you're on because you're new and you're just learning, sometimes it helps. You'll see that middle, I guess you could call it a divider. That is a good way to distinguish your rows. But also if you flip over the back, you can tell your rows between, we have 1, and then we have our chain, and then this would be 2. So almost like, do you see that kind of skinny, I don't know how to explain it, but that almost skinny, like, I want to say an inward spine, I guess is the best way to put it. That it almost acts kind of like a divider between rows. So that's a good way to distinguish. You could also use stitch markers too, but if you don't have them or you don't want to use them, that might help. So to do a double crochet, you're going to chain 2, and then this counts as, your chain 2 counts as a double crochet. So you're not going to go into this stitch because, like I said, it acts as a double crochet. So you're going to wrap around and you're going to go into the next stitch, okay? And you're going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2. You'll have to forgive me. I have a dog and a cat, and I have kids, so I'm going to have distractions every now and then. So you're going to go into this next loop, this next stitch, pull, yarn over and pull through. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. All right, pull through 2, that leaves you 2 loops. Pull through those 2. Okay, again, yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, pull through, yarn over and pull through. That's going to leave you 3 loops. Yarn over. My dog is playing with her ball. Yarn over, pull through 2, and then pull through the other 2, and that's a double crochet. All right, so that's really the only difference. Is you just want to remember when you're doing a double crochet, the only difference is instead of just inserting your hook into that stitch, you have to wrap it first. That's literally the only difference. And you're obviously going to have 1 extra loop on the hook. I'm actually quite proud of myself because I've been crocheting with this new technique for about probably like a week, I'd say, and I'm getting a little bit faster at it. And depending on what I'm doing, my stitches can kind of be still a little bit tight, but they're not as bad as what they were when I started this new technique. Alright, so that's really all you're doing for that stitch. And when you get to the end of your row, again, I would advise, especially if you're new, to count your stitches in every row. So again, we had 25, I had 25 single crochets. So for this one, I should actually have 25 single crochets as well. You definitely want to count your rows and your stitches and make it sure it matches up to what your pattern says, or even if you're just doing your own pattern, just make sure it's even, because otherwise it's either going to look like a triangle or it's just going to be, it'll be warped. So that is that. I'm going to pause the video again because I want to do, I'm going to do 2 more rows of this, maybe even 3, just so in the end, that way I can show you guys the difference in the stitches. And then I will be back and I'm going to show you how to do a treble crochet or triple crochet. All right. So again, remember to chain 2, turn your work. You're going to skip that very first stitch close to that, close to your hook, because that chain 2 counts as a double crochet, and you'll go into the next stitch and just do your regular double crochet and do that all the way till you get to the end of your row. Okay. All right, so I will meet you right back here in a minute. All right, so I am back. So this is what we have so far. Okay, I'm just going to finish this row really quick, and then I will show you guys how to do a treble crochet. Some people call it a triple crochet, which is fine. All right, so I just want to count. I'm going to count really quick because I'm not going to keep this, but I'd prefer for video purposes to have the nice straight edges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, so I have 25. So when you do a double crochet, one moment, hold on. Okay, so to do a treble crochet, you're just going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Oops. And again, just like we did our double crochet, this actually counts as a, actually this counts as a double crochet plus 1, honestly. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip this one, okay? This stitch that's right next to the turning chain. We're going to go into this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap and wrap. We're going to wrap twice, right? So it's going to have, we're going to have 3 loops on our hook, okay? And you're going to go into that stitch and you're going to yarn over, pull through, and then you're going to pull through 1, pull through, or okay, let me redo that because the way I worded it might confuse some people. So wrap and wrap, go into that stitch. Okay, you're going to have 4 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to wrap, you're going to pull through only 2 loops. Okay, wrap it again, pull through only 2 loops. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. Wrap and pull through 2. Okay, so a good way to think of it is how many times you're pulling through your loops. I always think 3, 2, 1. I kind of count backwards, okay? So again, we're going to wrap and wrap. We're going to go right into this next stitch because we don't have to, actually, for just so you guys can see the different types of stitches easier, I am going to skip a stitch. But if you want to go into the next stitch, you know, be my guest. So again, we wrapped and wrapped, we inserted our hook, we yarned over, pulled through. We're going to have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2, okay? And again, wrap and wrap. We're going to skip a stitch, go into the next stitch. We're going to have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the first 2, and yarn over and pull through the last 2. All right? Again, we're going to skip a stitch, wrap and wrap. And sometimes when you're wrapping, if you've noticed, I hold my stuff. You can do that if you want. I just feel it helps keep everything from sliding off sometimes. Again, we have 4 loops. Insert your hook, wrap or pull through the first 2, pull through the first 2, pull through the last 2. All right. And that is a treble crochet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up this row and probably do like 1 or 2 rows, just so you guys, and I'll meet you back here just so you guys can see the different stitches. And I should probably say in this beginning, it's always good probably we chained 3, but I would actually probably chain 4, because see how it kind of curves over that way, which is what we don't want. So in all reality, we should have probably chained 4 for this, but that's okay, because I'm not going to keep this. This is just for video purposes only. Probably going to just unravel this and use the yarn later. So alright, so like I said, I'm going to finish this up and I will meet you guys right back here at the end. Okay, so we're back. So as you can see, you can tell the difference between the stitches. These are our single crochet. These are our double crochet. We have 3 rows of the double, and then we have our treble crochets. So you can see that as a couple of things, as the stitches get, how do I word this? You'll see with like the increased heights, you'll have a little bit more of gapping, or what I call gapping in between each stitch. So for example, this, you can see there really isn't, the stitches are close together. With the double, you can see they kind of get a little bit more pulled apart. And then with the treble crochet, there's more of a gapping area in between the stitches. A good way to think of when you're doing this is obviously when you're doing single crochet on top of rows, you're going to chain 1 unless the pattern calls for something different. Double crochet, it's always going to be chain 2, again, unless the pattern calls for something different. And then they might even call for, I'm sorry about that, let me fix that. For a double crochet, I've even seen it where they say, chain 3, which is about normal. Normally, if you're doing a double crochet, they have you chain 3, and they count that as a double crochet plus a chain 1. And then with your treble, normally I would say you'd probably want to chain at least 4. Just so, because that's what I actually did for the end, and you can definitely tell the difference. It does make a bigger gapping space, however, it doesn't kind of smoosh your work in like that. So yeah, I hope this video was educational. I hope you all learned from it. I tried not to make it too long, so thank you very much for watching, and until next time, bye!